the secrets behind the world's fastest tennis serves. If you've ever picked up a tennis racket and attempted to serve against an opponent, you'll know just how hard a skill it is. It's one thing to get the ball over the net, and yet a whole other thing to even start thinking about speed and accuracy. It's a technique that quickly separates the professionals from the amateurs, and a skill which has become increasingly important in the modern game. Nowadays, both men and women are serving faster than ever before, with players regularly reaching service speeds that were once thought to be nearly impossible. At this year's Wimbledon, for example, fans witnessed the fastest serve in the tournament's 148-year history when Frenchman Giovanni Péricard unleashed a 153 miles per hour rocket in his first-round match against Taylor Fritz. Péricard is part of a new breed of players who weaponize their powerful asset to significant effect. The 21-year-old is the current world number 36, but clearly has the power to one day challenge the very best. I'm not doing some special technique to have a big serve or a fast serve. I'm just serving like I'm supposed to do. We don't train a lot, to be honest, this part of my game.
But I mean, it came naturally, he said.
But while Péricard is nonchalant about his superior delivery, there is a science behind what makes his technique so successful. Former tennis player and sports scientist Mark Kovacs has dedicated years to researching the biomechanics behind a tennis serve. Speaking to CNN Sports, he breaks down the technique into 8 components: the opening stance, the ball toss, the loading, the coiling, the acceleration, the contact, the deceleration, and finally, the finish, which is where the player lands. You need synchronized motion. You need all of these stages to hit optimally because you get this summation of forces. It's really called the kinetic chain. You're trying to optimize your kinetic chain, which means how we use the ground up through the body and out into the ball, Kovacs said. 8 vital elements. Kovacs' work is all about using research and data to give players that small edge to improve their performance. He has worked with some of the sport's biggest servers, including former U.S. player John Isner, who set the ATP-recognized record for the fastest serve in 2016 when he blasted a ball 157.2 miles per hour at his opponent. While all 8 components of the motion are important to maxing out your serving potential, Kovacs says research does point to particular elements which are required to produce a fast serve. First, there is stage 3, the loading, which looks at the player's body position before making contact. Kovacs says the key here is the player's back hip and how quickly it comes through the motion of serving. Then there is stage 5 into 7, acceleration, contact, and deceleration, which addresses how fast the serving arm moves through the action. You hear people talk about a player having a live arm. In the scientific sense, you can actually put a number on that, he says. A lot of coaches will say, that guy's just got a live arm. That's why he's able to serve hard, but maybe doesn't have the best technique. But actually, he does have pretty good technique at that position. He may not have great technique everywhere else, but his ability to get his arm in the right position and move through is the second most important correlation for serve speed. Albano Olivetti is another current player who uses his huge serve to his advantage. The 33-year-old now focuses mainly on doubles and made it to the second round at this year's Wimbledon. While he never made a huge impact in the singles game during his professional career, one particular moment remains etched into the sport's folklore. At a Challenger Tour event in 2012, Olivetti unleashed the second fastest serve of all time, sending a 160 miles per hour rocket at his opponent. The mark is not officially recognized by the ATP, men's tennis governing body, because it wasn't performed at an official ATP event, but it remains something Olivetti is proud of. Only former Australian player Sam Groth has served quicker, hitting one at 163.7 miles per hour also in 2012. At this year's Wimbledon, Olivetti's fastest serve was 140 miles per hour, which remains among the highest in the men's game. When asked what makes his technique so powerful, the 6'8" Frenchman initially points to his height as a major factor. Height advantage. Kovacs agrees that there is a distinct correlation between height and a big serve, noting that the best players across the men's and women's games are now getting taller on average, a trend also seen across several other professional sports, such as basketball. So, force equals mass times acceleration, Kovacs tells CNN Sports, explaining why height can make a difference.